Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to tell you about my first week in Istanbul, in Turkey. Now, unfortunately, I have been sick for a lot of the time that I have been in Istanbul. I've actually been here 2 weeks today. I'm just going to talk about the first week that I spent here. And I was a little bit sick when I arrived, out of action for a few days, and then things got better and I managed to get out a bit. And then just as I was going to hang out with a lot of friends and do some sightseeing, I got slaughtered by a really bad flu that I'm still recovering from, but feeling so much better. So let's see how my first week went before the flu really set in and kicked my butt. So when you arrive in a new country, one of the first things that you need to do, or one of the first things that I do, is get a SIM card for that country. It's just so much easier for data. You cannot do roaming with your card where you come from, especially for data. It will just be such a high expense. And so I set off to get a SIM card and some prepaid time, mainly data for when I'm out and about. I want to make sure that my Google Maps works and that I'm able to search for things as I go. Well, it works a little bit differently in Turkey. So in South Africa, in Mexico, in Costa Rica, in Canada, most of the time your SIM card is basically free or just a very small amount of money, and then you pay for the plan that you want. You pay for the prepaid that you want. But in Turkey, you have to pay a lot of money for the SIM card. So Vodafone and Turkcell wanted to charge me 350 Turkish lira for a SIM card, and then you get a gift of 20 gigabytes for your first month, and then you can buy extra time after that. But I mean, I was just shocked. That was like, in Canadian money, it's about $35 for a SIM card, which is just crazy for me. But it's something that they do apparently for the locals as well, just not as much. And it's definitely a tourist trap, but it's a tourist trap that you have to be a part of. As soon as you buy the SIM card, you get a text message saying that the number will no longer work in 6 months, and that basically they know that you're a tourist and it's a tourist number, and you need your passport in order to get it. And then you get your 20 gigs free. Now, what I did was, thanks to the advice of some Turkish friends, I went to Turk Telecom, and it was only 250 Turkish lira for the SIM card. So in my mind, $22, $25 for a month is less than I pay in Canada. And so I got that and am up and rolling. So the prices in Turkey, as in the rest of the world, have increased exponentially. And a lot of my friends tell me that they've actually gone up like 3 or 4, 5 times as much in the last sort of 5 months. We're nearing the end of a pandemic. Prices have gone up everywhere. But I was actually quite surprised by how not expensive Turkey is, but how it's more expensive than I anticipated. I buy most of my groceries in a grocery store called Migros, which is where a lot of Turkish people kind of tell me to go. It's apparently middle end of prices in Turkey. There's a lot of small grocery stores here in Istanbul. Some of them are just not worth your time, and some of them are okay, and you'll get what you want, but they're nothing like a grocery store that you would find in North America, which are huge. They're just small little grocery stores. You go in and get what you are looking for. Let's talk about transport. First of all, driving in Istanbul is insane. And to be perfectly honest, I am really glad that I am not renting a car and driving in Istanbul. I would probably kill myself and everyone else on the road. It requires quite a skill set to drive here in Istanbul. So I went and bought an Istanbul Metro card. Good news is you can get them from the Migros now, which was news to my Turkish housemate. But you go and you can even top it up in the Migros if you want to. You can also top it up at the kiosks, and the kiosks allow you to choose the English language as well when you are topping up your card. The card was 25 Turkish lira, and you just put money on and off you go. Now, the first time that I used it, I tried to take the bus system. What a mess. Now, the locals will tell you that it's a bit of a mess, but I am also here during Ramadan, and apparently it's even more chaotic. So either I don't know what I'm looking for, or the two buses that I was desperately waiting for just never came or came late. And eventually, when I was going off to meet a friend and I had to take two buses, I just surrendered and didn't take the second bus, and eventually just called a cab because it was just a nightmare. And after 15 minutes of waiting for this bus to arrive at this bus stop at a specific time, according to Google Maps, it never arrived. And so I just ended up grabbing a taxi. Take the metro and the train system and the tram system. They're really good. They run on time. They're very clean. I've been very impressed by the system. I love it. Jump on, jump off. It's just so much easier. So I would suggest that you stick to that system and avoid the buses as much as possible. Now let's talk about the taxis. The taxi system in Istanbul, even for local people, is just a completely rip-off system. You can actually use Uber here with the taxi system, I noticed, but it works very differently to Uber the way that you think Uber works. So normally with Uber, you put in where you want to go, it figures out where you are, it gives you a price, you confirm, the Uber comes, picks you up, takes you, it comes out of your account or you pay cash depending on where you are, and everything is good. Not in Istanbul. First of all, what you will notice is when you go into Uber, you will only see that the taxis are a part of the Uber. General people cannot be a part of the Uber here. It seems the taxi crowd don't want it. Then it gives you a between figure. So it will say, for example, 85 to 105 Turkish lira. Now, even though you've put in where you're going, the moment you try to book one, they immediately send you a message saying, where are you going? Now, you've put in where you're going, but instead of looking, they send you a message, where are you going? And you have to try and respond really quickly with Turkish names that you may not be able to spell because you've already looked it up, you've already put it into the system, and they immediately change the price. Oh, there's too much traffic, or there's a problem here, and they will immediately try and get more money out of you, even through the Uber system. So I just said, nope, the couple of times that I tried it, and I persevered with the public transport system. So just know, you can use Uber, it just doesn't work the same way that you're used to using Uber. Okay, let's talk about Turkish breakfast. Oh, it is an event. So just remember that Turkish breakfast is an event. It's probably similar to like a long brunch that we have over in North America, but it is an event. And there are a few things that maybe you should know if you get someone to invite you to Turkish breakfast, whether it's in a restaurant or whether it's at their house. Number one, no matter how much you eat, they will still tell you you did not eat enough. So they just want to feed you until you explode. Number two, here in Turkey, they drink more tea than anywhere else in the world. Yes, even than the Brits. So they call it chai. When they ask you if you want chai, remember, it's not chai tea that we are so used to, the cinnamon-infused Indian derivative tea. No. The word for tea here is chai, and when they ask for chai, it will be tea. And they serve it in these beautiful little hour-shaped glasses. So the way that you're supposed to do it here, and I have failed a few times because I am very North American in the way that I drink coffee in the morning before breakfast. But basically the way it works is before breakfast, during breakfast, you drink chai, you drink tea. And then you all have Turkish coffee together after the food as a uniting or a bonding or a social exercise. So if you decide you want to drink your coffee before and during your meal, then you better have enough space to have a collective coffee afterwards. Otherwise, you might be considered to be a little bit rude. And so that is the custom here. So just remember, a lot of tea and coffee afterwards. Another thing on that is Turkish coffee can be quite bitter, so you can ask for a little bit of sugar if you want. When you order the coffee, just remember that you need to order the sugar before it comes because they add the sugar to the coffee while they're making it. So Turkish coffee is absolutely divine, but you might want just a little bit of sugar in it in order to sweeten it up because it is quite a bitter beverage. Also, Turkish breakfast, it's not like your breakfasts or our breakfasts. You're not going to get a lot of like eggs and definitely no bacon. Or toast or anything like that. You're going to get something like a meze or tapas kind of platter with lots of little nibbly things that you can have. I went for breakfast at an upmarket restaurant with a friend one morning and I was not feeling very well. I kind of just wanted yogurt and granola or just something light, and there was just nothing breakfasty or Western breakfasty about this place. So I had to have some soup, and they made me a little salad, which was really sweet, but it was strange for me to eat soup and salad for breakfast in the morning. But you're not going to find, unless you go to a restaurant that caters to the Western diet, you're not going to find a lot of Western breakfast foods when you go out with friends. Okay, as I mentioned before, I'm actually here during Ramadan, and got very excited the first time I heard my first hazan, which is called to prayer, and some of my friends laugh at me because I do get a little bit excited when I hear it, but it comes up 5 times a day, and you soon get used to it, to be honest. The one thing, however, that I'm not used to is the little drummer boy. So let me explain that. There are people who take it upon themselves to play drums at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up everyone to remind them to eat before fasting begins at, I think it's around 5 a.m. at the moment based on the sun. So whilst I would like to put the little drummer boy and his friends out of their misery, I have been sleeping with earplugs in because you're just not going to stop this. And while I understand their intentions, come on, everybody's an adult. They can all wake themselves up to eat before fasting begins. But tradition is tradition. So if you're here during Ramadan, you may want to sleep with earplugs in because the little drummer boys are everywhere. When I made my videos about Mexico, you may remember that I spoke about a lot of the homeless cats and dogs in Mexico. Broke my heart, always breaks my heart when I see homeless animals. And there are a lot of homeless cats and dogs in Turkey. In Istanbul, mostly I'm seeing cats. The difference is that people here really, really love them and they take care of them. And there is food left everywhere for them. Every time that you're walking, you'll see people leaving food out. I bought some pellets, and when I'm out and about, I give a few pellets to cats if I see them because I am just a big cat person. And there's a cat park very close to this apartment. So sometimes I sit there and feed them pellets, and some of them like to climb onto your lap and some of them don't. But it still breaks my heart to see homeless animals, and I want to gather them all up and take them to a nice big farm and give them a beautiful life. But it's just one of those things that you're going to have to become accustomed to. All the homeless animals in Istanbul, but the people here really do love them and have embraced them. So I'm going to end this video just by saying that I really do love Turkish people. I have for a long time. I've taught them for a long time online, and I really have a huge connection with them. There's something about this culture that I just find is magical, and I really love it. The people are kind, they're helpful, and just warm my heart. So I'm 2 weeks into being in Turkey. I've been sick, unfortunately, for a bit of that time, but I did manage to get out yesterday and see some wonderful sights, which I will make a video about next week. And I really do love being here. So until my next video, enjoy yourselves. For those in the West, have a happy Easter. For those in the East, Ramadan Mubarak. and I hope you have enjoyed this video.